Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, class. How is everyone today?
Morning,
Good
Miss.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Miss. I'm fine.
Alhamdulillah, glad to hear that. Hari ini kita akan belajar tentang sebuah cerita. Bukan cuma mendengarkan, tapi kita akan menjadi detektif yang mengungkapkan apa yang sebenarnya terjadi di dalam sebuah cerita. Our topic today is unmasking the narrative beyond heroes and violence. Okay, next. Before we start, let's look at the goals for our lesson today. So at the end of this lesson, student will be able to first identify the structure and social function of a narrative text. Second, analyze character traits and differentiate between protagonist and antagonist. Third, provide arguments for a character's motivation and action. And the last is to express opinions based on story characters. Jadi, apa sih naratif teks itu? Basically, it is an imaginative story that is written to entertain or amuse the readers. Tapi bukan cuma itu, the social function is also to teach a moral lesson or values through a series of events. Jadi, di setiap cerita pasti ada pesan yang bisa kita ambil buat kehidupan kita sehari-hari. Selanjutnya ada generic structure. Untuk membuat cerita yang kita baca itu enak untuk dibaca, ada struktur yang harus kita ikuti. Yang pertama ada orientation. This is the introduction. Kita dikenalkan pada siapa tokohnya, di mana tempat kejadiannya, dan kapan waktunya. Second is complication. This is the heart of the story, di mana masalah mulai muncul. Konflik ini yang membuat jalan cerita menjadi lebih menarik dan menantang bagi tokohnya. Selanjutnya ada resolution, the point where the conflict is solved atau diselesaikan. Baik itu berakhir dengan kebahagiaan atau happy ending dan kesedihan atau sad ending. Dan yang terakhir ada reorientation. This is the optional closing yang berisi kesimpulan atau nilai moral yang bisa kita petik dari cerita tersebut. Nah, dalam menulis naratif teks, kita punya aturan bahasa khusus atau language features-nya. Yang pertama ada past tense, karena ceritanya sudah terjadi, kita pakai bentuk lampau seperti live, walk, atau felt. Selanjutnya ada temporal conjunction, words to connect time seperti once upon a time, then, after that, atau finally untuk menyusun alur agar berurutan. Dan yang terakhir ada specific characters and action verbs. Verbs that show physical or mental action, misalnya seperti kata fought, run, cried, atau found untuk menggambarkan tindakan nyata karakter tersebut. Selanjutnya ada karakter analisis. Sekarang kita bahas tokohnya dengan lebih rinci. Yang pertama ada protagonis. Mereka adalah tokoh utama atau main karakter yang ceritanya kita ikuti. Mereka memiliki sifat yang bisa dijadikan panutan atau sifat yang baik. Selanjutnya itu ada antagonis, the character who opposes the protagonist atau sering disebut sebagai penjahat. Namun, seorang antagonis itu tidak selalu harus jahat, guys, karena terkadang mereka hanya memiliki tujuan yang berseberangan dengan tokoh utama. Selanjutnya yang terakhir ada motivation atau the reason behind a character's action. Jadi kita itu harus berpikir kritis, apakah tokoh itu melakukan sesuatu karena terpaksa, karena dendam, atau karena ingin melindungi sesuatu. Memahami motivasi itu dapat membantu kita melihat apakah mereka benar-benar jahat atau hanya berada di situasi yang sulit. Nah, selanjutnya kita masuk pada contoh teksnya ya guys. Sekarang, I need one volunteers to read the text of the Legend of Malin Kundang aloud for the class. Anyone can help me please?
Saya, Miss.
Oke, Tanzar, please read the text ya.
Okay, Miss. The Legend of Malin Kundang. A long time ago, in a small coastal village, there lived a poor boy named Malin Kundang and his widow mother. They lived in simple conditions, struggling to make ends meet, which fueled Malin's deep ambition to change his fate and become successful. Driven by this dream, he eventually decided to set sail on a large merchant ship, leaving his tearful mother behind with the promise that he would return as a wealthy man. Years passed, and Malin became a rich and successful merchant, commanding his own ship and marrying a beautiful noble woman. One day, his ship docked at his very own hometown, where his mother, now old and frail, recognized her long lost son and rushed to embrace him. However, blinded by his newfound wealth and status, Malin was deeply ashamed of his mother's humble appearance and cruelly refused to acknowledge her, even pushing her away in front of his wife. Thank you, Miss.
Oke, thank you Tanzar. Sekarang akan saya lanjutkan. Devastated by his heartless betrayal, the mother knelt and prayed for justice, asking that her son receive the consequences of his arrogance. Suddenly, the clear sky turned dark and a massive, violent storm engulfed the harbor, destroying Malin's magnificent ship. As the sea raged around him, Malin realized his mistake too late, and he was turned into stone, forever serving as a silent warning against the sin of disrespecting one's parents. Dari cerita tadi, mari kita bedah strukturnya bersama-sama ya. Okay, let's analyze the legend of Malin Kundang. The structure analysis. First, orientation. Paragraph 1 introduces Malin Kundang and his widowed mother in a poor coastal village, establishing Malin's deep ambition and his departure to change his fate. Jadi bagian ini disebut orientation karena kita baru diperkenalkan dengan tokoh utama dan latar tempatnya. Selanjutnya ada complication di paragraf 2 presents the conflict when Malin returns as a wealthy merchant but is blinded by his social status and shamefully refuses to acknowledge his frail mother in front of his wife. Jadi di bagian complication ini muncul masalah utama saat Malin berubah sikap setelah sukses. Selanjutnya ada resolution di paragraf 3 reveals the climax where the mother prays for justice, followed by a violent storm that destroys the ship and turns Malin into stone as a consequence of his betrayal. Jadi resolution ini terjadi karena konflik tadi akhirnya mencapai titik penyelesaian atau puncak cerita, yaitu Ibu Malin mengutuk anaknya menjadi batu karena merasa sakit hati. Dan yang terakhir ada reorientation atau moral lesson. The ending serves as a timeless warning, emphasizing that children must always honor and respect their parents, regardless of their success or social status. Jadi bagian terakhir ini adalah reorientation yang berisi pesan moral untuk kita semua. Selanjutnya ada karakter analisis. Oke, sekarang kita lihat motivasi di balik tindakan tokoh-tokohnya. Yang pertama ada Malinda. Initially a protagonist, he became a protagonist due to his selfish ambition. He was motivated by his desire to be accepted by wealthy people, so he was ashamed of his poor mother. Jadi Malin disebut antagonis karena tindakannya itu menyakiti hati ibunya. Motivasi dia dalam melakukan tindakan tersebut adalah karena gengsi atau harga dirinya sendiri. Selanjutnya ada the mother. She is a sincere protagonist. Her motivation is purely driven by a mother's love and the deep pain caused by her son's betrayal. Jadi ibu ini adalah protagonis yang tulus. Motivasinya ini terjadi karena murni akan rasa kasih sayang dan kekecewaan terhadap sebagai orang tua. Selanjutnya ada reading session Sleeping Beauty. Sekarang mari kita baca teks Sleeping Beauty. Saya ingin menunjuk satu orang. Mungkin Diana bisa tolong bantu saya untuk membaca teks ini.
Bisa, Miss.
Oke.
Sleeping Beauty. Long ago, in a peaceful kingdom, there lived a beautiful princess named Aurora. She was loved by everyone because of her kindness and gentle heart. On the day she was born, the king and queen held a great celebration. 3 good fairies come to give their blessing. However, an evil fairy named Maleficent avenged and cursed Aurora. She said that when Aurora turned 16, she would uh, break her finger on the spinning wheel and fall into a deep sleep. To protect her, the 3 fairies hide Aurora in the forest and raise her as a village girl named Briar Rose. Aurora grew up happily and loved singing and exploring nature. On her 16th birthday, she met a kind prince named Philip in the forest. They feel an instant connection without knowing their true identities. Unfortunately, uh, Maleficent found Aurora and led her to touch a spinning wheel. As the curse came true, Aurora fell into a deep sleep. The fairies put the entire kingdom to sleep to wait for the curse to be broken. Finally, Prince Philip saw his love, his true love and courage. The curse was broken, and Prince Aurora woke up from long sleep.
Okay, thank you, Diana. Now look at this picture. Oke, sekarang lihat gambar-gambar yang ada di slide ini ya, guys. Mari kita bedah karakternya. Yang pertama ada Princess Aurora. Menurut kalian, is she a protagonist or an antagonist? Mungkin Fadia bisa jawab.
Protagonis.
Ya, boleh dijelaskan alasannya?
Dia itu punya sifat yang lemah lembut dan dia juga berusaha bersikap baik ke semua orang di sekitarnya.
Oke, bagus sekali Fadia. Yeah, she is the protagonist because she represents positive values and her journey is what the audience follows throughout the story. Next, look at the second picture. How about Prince Philip? Is he a protagonist or an antagonist? Ada yang bisa menjawab?
Protagonis juga, Miss.
Kenapa Tanzar? Kenapa dia disebut protagonis?
Karena Prince Philip yang menyelamatkan Aurora.
Oke, tepat sekali Tanzar. Dia adalah protagonis karena tindakannya mendukung upaya menyelesaikan konflik utama di cerita. Oke, last one. Look at this third picture. How about the witch, Maleficent? Is she a protagonist or an antagonist? Ada yang bisa menjawab?
Saya nih, saya
Boleh Diana, silakan.
dia antagonis, Miss.
Kenapa dia disebut antagonis, Diana?
Karena dia mengutuk Aurora supaya tertidur selamanya.
Tepat sekali Diana. Yes, she is the antagonist because she is the source of the complication that blocks the protagonist from achieving happiness. Nah, sekarang mari kita cari tahu bersama. Sama. So, jadi di sini ada satu pertanyaan. Saya ingin kalian berpikir. Um, is the antagonist always just evil or do they have a motivation we aren't seeing? Jadi saya ingin meminta 2 orang untuk memberikan argumennya. Siapa yang mau memberikan argumennya?
Saya Miss,
Silakan, Fidelsa.
I think not all antagonists are evil. Sometimes they do bad things because they feel hurt or rejected by others. They just want to be recognized.
That's a
Thanks, Miss.
very Okay, thank you, Fidelsa. That's a very deep perspective. It shows that sometimes bad behavior comes from pain or sadness, not just from being a bad person. Ada lagi yang bisa menjawab? Mungkin Tanzar bisa dijawab.
Yes, Miss. I agree. I think everyone has a reason for their action. Sometimes they do bad things because they are afraid of something, so they act that way to protect themselves.
Okay, thank you, Tanzar. Fear is often a strong motivation that makes someone act differently. You both did great job ya. Nah, sekarang untuk em, sebelum kelas ini ditutup, seperti yang kalian lihat di slide, untuk tugas minggu depan, tolong dikerjakan sesuai instruksi yang ada dan link video dikirim di WA Group sore ini. Terima kasih ya guys. I think that's all for today. Thank you for your active participation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
wabarakatuh. Thank you,
Miss.
Miss.
Miss.